Hey everybody, it's Kathy Hester from HealthySlowCooking.com, and I'm doing my normal Tuesday recipe demo for you. Today I'm going to make this super easy seitan, and seitan is a wheat meat. It's made with wheat gluten flour, and we'll talk a little bit about that as well. If you are gluten-free, this recipe is not for you, unfortunately. I'll see if I can think of something else, but it's really hard to. What I would probably do is sub like cauliflower florets or something like that at the very, very end. So first what we're going to do is we're going to mix together the seitan. Then we're going to knead it a little bit, and I'm going to use my KitchenAid. You could use a food processor. You could use your hands. So there's really no excuse in not doing it. So first thing I want to kind of talk about, and oh yeah, and this recipe is from my new book, Vegan Cooking in Your Air Fryer, and it's also on my website. Dawn's going to be posting that link, and it's a really simple recipe. Now, a lot of times when people see Vital wheat gluten, they're not sure, and they'll get high gluten regular flour, and it's just not the same thing. So know that you're going to need something like Vital wheat gluten. You can order it online at Amazon, and I'm even seeing it in some local stores. Other than that, we're going to use nutritional yeast, some spices, and water, and then we're going to use a vegan barbecue sauce to kind of finish it off and make little riblets out of it. So one thing that you want to be real wary of when you're getting a store-bought barbecue sauce is that it doesn't have anchovies, and I'm really not sure how you really pronounce this, but it's like Worcestershire or Worcestershire or something like that sauce. You can get a vegan version and make your own, but if it's in just like a regular commercial one, it's not going to be vegan. But this one, I think I got this at Kroger. And it's organic and non-GMO. It's got tomato puree, sugar, white vinegar, organic cornstarch. I mean, really the only thing I see that could be objectionable for some people would be xanthan gum, and it's a teeny tiny amount. So that's the one thing to look for. So, have any of you guys made your own seitan? First off, have you made it in an Instant Pot, slow cooker, on your stove, or have you already made some in your air fryer? And because we're going to make it with the air fryer today. And honestly, this is one you can make in your oven if you wanted to, but it's going to take longer. Also, let me know if you've always wanted to make seitan, but you're a little nervous. I'm going to switch cameras, and we're going to show my KitchenAid. In the recipe, it actually calls for a food processor, but honestly, I really hate cleaning the seitan stuff out of my food processor. And what you see, this ring in there, is from where I made some earlier today and decided I'm making some in 10 more minutes. I'm not going to wash it. And Dawn has made slow cooker seitan, which is a little different, and it gets really juicy and yummy. So first we're going to put in the wheat gluten, the Vital wheat gluten. Then we're going to put a quarter cup, sorry, that's why you should read the recipe and not listen to me, a quarter cup of nutritional yeast. And then we have the spices. So what we have here is, I'm using 1 teaspoon of mushroom powder, but you can use vegan Worcestershire sauce as well. Again, no idea how to pronounce that. Does anybody else know how to pronounce it? And maybe you can write it out phonetically for me so I won't be embarrassed next video. There's some onion powder, some garlic powder, salt, and remember, onion powder and garlic powder aren't bad. They're just onions or garlic that have been dehydrated and ground. And there's a little salt in there as well. And honestly, if you really like this recipe, you could go ahead and make up a few of these dry, ready to go, and then you could just make them quickly. The only other ingredient for now for this base seitan is going to be 3/4 cups of water. So first, I'm going to mix the spices and everything really well together. Speed that up a little bit. Now I'm going to pour the water in. And you're going to see, just so you know, you're going to see it's going to look kind of weird. That's finally going to come together. And then as it kneads, we're going to knead it for about 3 minutes. And it's really going to look a lot different by that stage. So first we want to just get everything to come together. You guys see now that the water's incorporated, right? And it looks a little weird, but we're going to go on for about 3 minutes. Maybe I'll just see if I can speed it up a little bit. So that you don't have to listen to this horrible noise for so long. But tell me too, do you have a KitchenAid mixer or a food processor? And so see how it starts to kind of look more like a unit than the little pieces that were everywhere. And as it kneads, what's going to happen is it's really going to start looking almost like a bread dough. You can pull it out earlier. I just like it, the more it kneads, I think the better texture it gets, in my opinion. Hi Jeanette, thanks for joining us today. Have you made seitan? And you really should be speeding it up like that. I'm just doing it for the video. There we go. And that's close enough to what I want to show you. So it still could go and knead a little bit longer. I'll try and get this out of the way. And then I'm going to show you some in the air fryer as well. Okay, let's move this guy up a little bit. So all we're going to do now is kind of try to form this into one piece that will fit in our own air fryer. So if you have a little bitty air fryer, it's going to be thicker than if you have a big air fryer. And one of the reasons I wanted to do this is because when you this is the first cook. It gets 2 different cook cycles of the air fryer. And it doesn't need to be perfect. It doesn't need to be hand rolled out. You just kind of want to make sure that you can get some coverage, because all that'll do is this is going to puff up like you don't believe. So it's kind of interesting, and it looks like you're doing the recipe wrong. And that's one of the main reasons I wanted to show it to you today, because it's not wrong. And I made some the other day and I forgot. So if I forgot, surely some of you don't know. Okay, so it's just something like this. And then I cut it in half just so it's going to cook a little better. And so, get this is my new Go Wise extra large. And that basket, as you can see, is extra large. Also, it's deeper than the Phillips extra large. And I find that I need less cooking time, even on this recipe. So if you have a smaller one, you're probably going to have to increase it. And so see, I cut it in 2 just so it can circulate a little bit better. And we'll go ahead and put this away. And we're going to pretend that we turned it on. And now I'm going to show you some of the rest of it. So I already pre-cooked some, so you don't have to sit there for a bunch of minutes to kind of deal with it. Though, I do need to plug this in so you can see the very end. Always so prepared. Actually, we can sneak these 2 pieces back out. Alright, so when it comes out, it's going to look like this, which looks like gross, yucky bread stuff, right? Hi, Tony. Thanks for joining. So You're going to let this cool. So first it's going to be, this was the first side, and then you're going to flip it and cook it a little bit longer. And it's still going to look kind of gross. It may be even more puffy than this. And you can just slit something and kind of push it down. You don't want to try, and see how squishy it is, that there's definitely some space some places and not others. Totally okay. It's definitely a weird recipe. So what we're going to do now is we're just going to cut some slices, right? And I say 1/2 inch, but it really depends. And then usually I cut them in half. So I slice and cut in half. As you can see now, like, it's kind of yucky in the middle. That's going to turn into a really yummy, crunchy part later. But the outside is definitely drier than the inside. This isn't like the seitan that you're used to making. And so see how there's some bubbles? Doesn't matter. It's all going to be part of the yummy goodness. And so what you're doing this way, and even if there's a hole, there's not a big hole in any of this one. But if there is, and there's a hole in the middle, still cut it and use it. These are going to be really nice, crispy outside pieces, and you're going to like those a lot. So, and again, this is going to be really hot when it comes out of the air fryer, so make sure you let it cool down to where you can touch it. Okay. So, and then we would repeat that. So I already, oh, this is a way too small bowl. I'm just going to mix it up in here. You can, what you need now is a dish that can go into your air fryer. This isn't going to go into every air fryer. It's going to go into the Go Wise with plenty of room to spare. So I'm really kind of digging this whole Go Wise extra large because I feel like it's a lot of room. The power seems to be pretty amazing. I do usually cook these in half batches, and if you have a smaller one. So here are the cut pieces that we baked once. We're going to pour some barbecue sauce over them and toss it. And really, you can use as much or as little barbecue sauce as you want. I give a number in the cookbook because I have to. I tend to like things pretty saucy, so sometimes I'll even add a little more sauce after they've cooked. Oh, Dawn says she doesn't think they look gross. I think it's just when you're used to seeing the wetter seitan, it looks weird. It really does look like something's gone awry. Now, I sprayed this just because I know that this barbecue sauce is going to bake on. I could have tossed it in something else and not sprayed it. I could have lined this with parchment paper to make it oil-free, because at this point we're looking at an oil-free plant-based dish. It's soy-free, it's nut-free, oil-free. It is not gluten-free, though. That's the one place that wheat gluten just is never going to make anyone happy. So let me move this knife where I won't cut myself. And I'm going to go ahead and let this cook. There is only one thing going at one time, so therefore there should be no power outages. And we're going to cook this on 370. Let's try for 5 minutes. And actually, let me turn this towards you. I can tell you a little bit about this model of Go Wise while we're waiting. And also, if you have some other questions about your air fryers, specific ones, go ahead and ask now, and I'll be glad to try and help you. So with this Go Wise, I don't know if you can see as well. They're not lit up, but around here they have specific things like pizza, French fries, things vegans don't eat, cakes. And that's kind of cool. So that gives you an idea if you're experimenting or trying to really change one recipe into an air fryer recipe. And then realized I'm going to need to put that hot thing on something. A lot of times when I'm cooking with my air fryer and I pull the basket out, I sit it on top of my stove. But you can also sit it on top of a hot plate or something like that, but it will burn. Oh, hi, Hillary. Thank you so much. Hillary says that she needs to start cooking my stuff. if you don't have an air fryers aren't really tricky to use. They're basically like convection ovens. And this is usually the bigger size of this kind. You can get, let's see if we can pan over. Oh, I'm no good with the panning over. I have actually a convection one, so it's like a big giant toaster oven. And if you guys are wondering what the black blob is over there, that's our kitty Moxie. She wanted to visit with us today. But so like there's a Cuisinart convection oven and there's a Breville convection oven that has an air fryer function. So those would be two. Seems like it's going slow to me. Yeah, okay. Double checking my own instructions, always a good thing to do. I don't think they're tricky. They make the best tofu ever. So all you have to do, even if you don't marinate your tofu and just toss it with a little bit of cornstarch and put it in there, it gets the perfect texture. So what I like to do a lot is stir fries, and then I always make my sauce separate. So then what I do is I cook the vegetables, add the sauce, and then I add the just fried tofu, and it really makes it taste just like takeout. It tastes like it does in our Chinese restaurant. So I love that. I don't make as many like spur of the moment French fries and potato chips as people might think. Yeah, Hillary, yeah, if you're looking for a convection oven already, so there's two. One is the Breville Air, and I think it's like $400. And the other one is the Cuisinart, and it also, I don't know what model it is, but it definitely states that it has an air fryer function. So that would be the best way for you to go, I think. Some people love them, some people don't. That's the same with just about anything. So I wish that wasn't the case, but it's true. People are picky. I never press the buttons for the time to keep going. That's why I think that a lot of time has elapsed and it hasn't. So, and this is the Go Wise. And so the Go Wise has a smaller one as well. And I like the small one too. That's one of the ones I tested the book with. They actually just sent me this recently because I asked. Dawn was testing in the older Go Wise extra large and really loved it too. Now they have this button which will let you stop and change temperatures or times, which is kind of nice. And it actually runs quieter than some of them. I know this may sound loud coming over video, but it's really, really quiet when you're right here by it. Now I have a Philips smaller one that I liked because it had this little thing that went on top of the basket, so it would hold down kale chips and things like that. So that was kind of cool. I got one of the super special Thanksgiving ones, and it's teeny, and you have to preheat it. I've not had to preheat any of the Go Wise or the Philips, and I found it kind of puny. Now, I paid like $20, and I think I got a rebate, so I think I paid $10 for it. Totally worth $10. It's not worth the full price normal of like $60. I wouldn't do that. Now, what I have found is, and you might want to go ahead and look in your local thrift store. Some people who got these for Christmas decided they didn't want them. So take a peek in there. I actually have a purple power something one that I still have to test, and I'll tell you guys how I like that. But I picked that up for like $7 in the thrift store. And they're like $80 or $90 at places like Kohl's. And again, the toaster ovens are cool. The Cuisinart takes up a smaller footprint than the Breville does, but the Breville is a little fancier, and it should be because it costs a lot more, almost twice as much. And you can always check on it. So let's check this one. It's heavy. And I'm going to turn these around a little bit. And what I like them to do is to get really kind of crunchy almost. And Max has finished his peanut butter Kong. I tried, you guys. I swear I did. Do you guys have dogs that bark at the mail people and the golf carts that might be going down the street, or actually any truck whatsoever makes him kind of lose his mind? But he's probably had enough peanut butter to like fuel him into oblivion. So, do you guys have any questions while we're waiting? I'm trying to think of other things I can. Oh, I know what I can. I think they're here. Here's a must-have air fryer accessory. It's parchment paper that's already cut in a circle and has holes in it. And they're steamer liners. I got these at World Market, and they were kind of ridiculous. They were $6 for 30, so that's 50 cents each, right? Or is it 5 cents each? Anyhow, I think it's too much, whatever it is. It could be 2 cents. You can get a lot more of those cheaper at your local Asian market. So they will have those around where they have things like the dumpling formers and different things. Aww, Hillary, you're so sweet. She said she's just sitting around being inspired. Well, hopefully I'm inspiring people to do a little more air frying. You can also, since it's like a convection oven, you can also bake. So a couple of weeks ago I baked carrot cake for one in here in a mug, and it was so good. You should look back at some of those videos too. I try to also put up my videos on a YouTube channel just because, so if you're looking for something, you might be able to find it. You can always ask me on my Facebook page or on my blog, healthyslowcooking.com. And Corinne says her dog barks at trucks, mail, trash pickup, recycling pickup faithfully. Okay. You know what's really weird is they don't bark at the trash people, which I find strange. Like, they'll bark at this, if they don't see, oh, that's the loud, it's done. Okay. And this could go a little longer, but we're just gonna, these would be kind of, it's a nice break from cleaning your office. Would you like to come clean my office? Aw, you guys are, I swear to you can make these. So see how what's kind of neat, and I'm trying to get it to go ahead and focus. No? How about back here? So you can see the little nooks and crannies, and this part's going to get crispy. And so these are pretty good. For me, either I put a little bit too much sauce on them, or I would probably cook them another 5 minutes until they're crunchier the way I like them. I like them to be crunchy and saucy, so I'm kind of high maintenance. So I really appreciate Cheryl is like, I hope that's dinner. Yes, it is. And in fact, we're going to have 2 batches of these, so it's going to be really yummy. If you guys have any questions about the recipe, let me know. Also, if you have questions about air fryers, let me know. But I'm actually toying with the idea of doing a bunch more desserts for 1 or 2 in the air fryer because it's just so easy and convenient. And I really appreciate all of you guys joining me. I always do. This is going to be up, not live, it's going to be up recorded on my Facebook pages, so you can watch this and refer back to it whenever you need to. And I hope that I get to see you guys next week when I do whatever I'm going to plan to do, which I have no idea now. I'm actually working on a cookbook, so I'm thinking cookbook stuff. Thanks, Donna. Donna said she loves my shirt. So what it is, if you don't know, it's the Veggie Avengers, because Cheryl has been making me watch all the superhero movies. And so I thought that was kind of appropriate. And we did see Black Panther this weekend, and it was amazing. So I'm not a huge superhero movie fan, but that I still say that's a must-see. The music, the sets, the costumes, the dialogue, everything was just really, really awesome. So we loved that. So that's my unpaid plug for Black Panther. So you guys also let me know what kind of things you might be interested in seeing me cook. I try to do things that I can finagle in under half an hour. So A, you can see how easy it is, and B, so you don't have to sit there all day and watch me cook. Okay, so thanks again for joining me, and you can get more of my recipes at healthyslowcooking.com. Have a great day.